am not Mark Holmes. I am not delusional. I have not sacrificed any chickens. But I'm going to tell you, if the Eagles play it the right way, in 2 to 3 years, they will have the best secondary in football, hands down. You might do it, King Dingbat here, and just imagine, the Eagles in 2 years are going to have the best secondary in football. It's going to be lights out. You aren't going to throw against them. They are going to be everywhere. This team's secondary is stocked with young talent, and I can't get enough of it. And it's really, really fascinating how it's going to play out. And the key to the way it plays out is Isaiah Rodgers. Now, we're going to get into it in a second, but before we do that, happy Mother's Day to each and every one of the mothers out there who are watching this. Happy Mother's Day to all those of you who have mothers that birthed you, that had you in the belly, that popped you out. Happy Mother's Day to them. Happy Mother's Day to my wife. Happy Mother's Day to my mother. Happy Mother's Day to my mother-in-law. I hope each and every one of you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful day, a great day. This is a great day. I'm going to be celebrating it with my wife. Maybe at the end of the day, I'll say, hey, baby, I know that you're a mother, but this body was made to give you pleasure. And then maybe we'll, do some matrimonial duties, and then bing, bang, bang, boom. Slip one past the goalie, and here come the babies. That's what I'm talking about. If I could have like 50 kids, I would. 100 kids, I would. I would just keep popping them out, man. Just keep popping them out. All right, so now speaking of popping out, pause, no diddy. This secondary has me utterly fascinated, utterly engaged, and I can't get enough of thinking about how they're going to use all these guys. The Eagles have a ton of talent at the secondary position. There's no way that they're going to keep these guys all. You just can't. You just don't have enough players, or you just don't have enough space to keep all these guys. Who is going to go? That's going to be the question. I'll tell you what, I think a guy like Avonte Maddox is in big trouble. I really do. I don't know how he's going to make this team. You think about him. You think about a guy like Eli Ricks. I really like Eli Ricks, man. Like, I think Eli Ricks is a player and can play in this league, but he's going to have to show us something, right? And you got Mekhi Gardner. He's very talented. Mario Goodrich. Mario Goodrich, was a decent pickup, and I thought he showed some stuff in training camp. What about Tyler Hall? They just brought him from the Raiders. This is a secondary that is stocked. And it's stocked, it's stacked. Josh Jobe, another one. They got some guys. Not all these guys are going to be able to make it. And I really think that there's a very good chance that the Eagles get somebody like Avonte Maddox probably gets cut. But then you get a guy like, maybe Jobe, maybe Tyler Hall, maybe, maybe Avonte Maddox. If you can afford it, you're going to trade one of these guys, But it's very interesting. Zach McPherson, right? There's a lot of players in the secondary that are young and talented, which really makes you think that why keep Bradbury after June 1st? Just cut him or trade him. Just get rid of him. Just do it. You have these young guys. You have the best corner in the draft. Play them, okay? So it's a really fascinating position. But to me, what I want to see, and my main goal for the first year in this draft, is I want to see how this team plays Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper Dejawn. Because I feel like it's really, really important to get these young guys on the field. Like, they've got to play. The whole reason you get Saquon Barkley, the whole reason your offense is as good as it is, well, not the whole reason, but part of it is so that you can take your defense and put young guys in, play them, let them make their mistakes, let them learn. But by the time that they get to the end of the season, they're going to start playing good football. And then just think about next year, going into the season when you have all these young guys and these rookies that have a lot of experience. So it's important that these guys play. But how is it gonna work out? How is it going to play out? My dream scenario would be this. I would love to see this be my starting secondary. I would love to see Slay and Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, Isaiah Rodgers on the inside at the slot, and then C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Cooper Dejawn at safety. That would be my dream case scenario. Now, will that happen? I can't say that that's going to happen. I don't know. And, it's hard to know because these guys aren't on the field. They're not practicing. We haven't seen enough of them yet to kind of get a feel. But just based upon where we are right now, that's what I would want. I would want to get my 2 top 20 players that I drafted that are in a secondary, and I'd want them to play. Now, I think how this whole thing is going to work out really depends on what the plan is with Isaiah Rodgers. Now, a lot of people say Isaiah Rodgers, he's played most of the time outside. That's where he's going to be. That's where he belongs. And then there's others that say, yeah, he played a lot outside, but he's really really capable of playing inside. And if you remember, when the Eagles signed him, the talk was that they signed him to move him inside. And I think this is backed up by the fact that they cut Avonte Maddox. When they cut Avonte Maddox, I think it was partly because they look at Isaiah Rodgers as the starting slot corner. When they could bring Avonte Maddox cheap back as a backup, they did that. Now we're hearing that Cooper Dejawn is working in as a nickel, and that's where they're really starting him. I kind of see that as he'll play some nickel and safety. I think it's going to be between those two. Even though he might start out at the nickel, I really see him playing safety as well. So I think safety and nickel will be where you see him this year. Now, here's the thing. If you put him at nickel, are you going to start him at nickel? Is he going to be ready to start right away? And if so, what are you doing with Isaiah Rodgers? Because if Isaiah Rodgers is your inside corner, it kind of changes everything. Because then you have Dejawn, who's either going to be a backup to Isaiah Rodgers, or he's going to be moved to somewhere like safety. If Isaiah Rodgers is an outside corner, you then have a starting caliber corner in Isaiah Rodgers, who is going to be backing up probably Slay. Unless they cut Bradbury and then they put Isaiah Rodgers on the outside, which would be a mistake in my opinion, because then if you're doing that, you're not getting Mitchell on the field. The goal is to get the mother humpers on the field. You see, you got to get them on the field. And to me, if Isaiah Rodgers is starting you're outside, then it's kind of going to take away from Mitchell playing. So I think the only thing that makes real sense for Isaiah Rodgers and to effectively use the talent you have in the secondary is to put Rodgers and give him a chance at the slot corner as a nickel corner. I think that's where you got to put him. Now, if you do that, and let's say you cut Bradbury, which we're hoping June 1st, now you slide Quinyon Mitchell right into Bradbury's spot. He's a rookie. You let him learn. You let him play. He's going to make his mistakes. He's going to get beat sometimes. It's going to happen. But your offense is going to carry you early. And he's going to go out there. He's going to play. He's going to be mentored by Slay. And now you have Mitchell on the field. And you have Mitchell on the field. You have Slay. And you have Rodgers in your slot. That's how I would do it. Now, if I'm getting Dejawn and I'm working him in the slot, letting him take reps, okay, he's backing up Isaiah Rodgers. Okay, cool. At some points, he'll be in there in certain dime packages and things like that. Now, if you move him, Cooper Dejawn, not just as a slot corner, but at safety at times too, well, now you got 2 guys at safety that are capable of playing nickel corner, and both are ball hawks, okay? Now, I think at that safety position, if you put Dejawn there and let him play more of that safety position, I truly believe that you would then have him starting. I think he would then start. Now, I know people are saying, well, what about Reed Blankenship? You stop messing with Reed Blankenship. He had great stats. I like Reed Blankenship. I think he's a good player. I've been saying this for over a year now. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's the answer long term at the safety position. I think he's a good player, a depth player, a player that could come in, could be a bridge safety, could be even a little more than that. But what I want to do is I want to get my young guys on the field. I want them playing. So if you have Isaiah Rodgers in the slot and you have Cooper Dejawn working behind him, you also have a chance to put him at safety at times. And you want to get that versatility out. See, my long-term plan for Cooper Dejawn is that I want him to be the Swiss Army knife. I don't want him to be looked at as primarily a safety or as a nickel corner or as an outside corner. I want him to be looked at as a weapon. I want to look at him as a weapon. And so, hey, 1 week I want him to play this tight end. 1 week, I need him to be on the outside. 1 week, I need him to be at safety. Another week, I need him to be at nickel. Depending upon the matchup, I'm going to use him in that way. That's how you use him. So the quickest way, early on, in my opinion, to get Dejawn on the field is to start him at safety. Is to get playing at safety. So I think when they say, oh, he's playing nickel and he'll work in a nickel, I think you'll also see him work at safety. And what he'll do is eventually he'll be at safety. You'll have Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, Isaiah Rodgers as your nickel, and you still have Slay out there. Now, when Slay goes, you're going to move Ringo into Slay's spot. So Ringo becomes the starter. And 2 years down the road, it's going to be Mitchell, Ringo in your outside, Rodgers as a slot, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Dejawn at safety. And when you rotate and you move Cooper Dejawn around, boom, Reed Blankenship's in there. Sidney Brown could come in. Because you can take both Cooper Dejawn and you could take CJ Gardner-Johnson and you can move them both into cornerback position, into the slot. You can do that with both those guys. So there is a role for Sidney Brown. There is a road for Reed Blankenship. But the high top talent, the top 20 talent, the versatility talent, now he's on the field most of the time. That's how I want it. So what I think they need to do is find a way to get these rookies on the field and let them play. You have to also remember, Cooper Dejawn is not a first-round pick. That means the Eagles have one less year on his rookie contract than they do with Mitchell. So I don't want to waste a whole year of him sitting behind Isaiah Rodgers and not being out on the field or sitting behind one of the outside corners. You got to get him on the field. So you got to use him as safety. But I don't know how it's all going to play out, really, because I don't know where they're moving Isaiah Rodgers. Once I feel like they put Isaiah Rodgers somewhere, like they put him in at the slot corner position, it's like, boom, all right, he's playing your nickel, he's starting your nickel. Now you free up yourself to put Dejawn at the safety position. He might be the backup nickel to Isaiah Rodgers anyways, because you can do that. So if Rodgers gets hurt or comes out or is not in for a play, yeah, you can slide Dejawn down there and he could play slot corner. You got Reed Blankenship to come in. Eventually, when Brown is back from injury, you have him. But this is a very versatile, very deep secondary. And the two guys that got to go on the field is Mitchell and Dejawn. And if they do, I'm telling you right now, if they do this, I truly believe in 2 years, this is the best secondary in football. It's going to be lights out. I think a lot of Ringo. I think Ringo can play and start in this league. I think he's a player, and he's really, really young. And I know Mitchell is. I know Dejawn is. I know what I got in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So, to me, the most interesting piece about the whole secondary is how they're going to use Isaiah Rodgers. And if they don't see Isaiah Rodgers as a starting slot corner and they see him as an outside corner, then he's going to be behind Slay, or is he going to replace Bradbury? And to me, that would be the mistake. That would be a big mistake, because that probably means you don't see much Mitchell on the field. And I think that would be a waste. Isaiah Rodgers in the slot sets up the whole secondary to be good for a long time, in my opinion. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. With that said, happy Mother's Day to everybody. You guys take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. Dallas still stinks. Speaking so much about Cooper Dejawn and Quinyon Mitchell, they are only here for one reason. Big Pimpin' Howie Roseman. That's right, Big Pimpin' Howie Roseman. And you can get your Big Pimpin' Howie Roseman shirt right now. Link is in the description. Check it out. Make sure you get yours. These things have been selling like crazy. Also, we have the Cooper Dejawn Flying Frenchman shirts. Those pre-orders are going to start going out next week. And yeah, those have been off the hook in terms of sales and pre-orders. But the Big Pimpin' shirts are out now. Get them. Link is in the description. And the Q, I know everybody's asking about the Mitchell stuff. The Q stuff is on its way. We got 2 shirts getting ready to drop as well, so look for those. Link is in the description. With that said, Denzel Washington out.